This video is made in partnership with Ergonoffice. It feels like I built this all-black gaming setup just yesterday, but it's actually been over 2 years now, and it's served me really well. It's a modular and functional gaming setup, and it's been the centerpiece of countless fond memories playing late-night games with the boys. It was simply the perfect gaming setup for me at that time. However, a lot has changed since then, and I thought this was a good time to create a setup that can accommodate these changes. I've become obsessed with F1, so I started sim racing. I've also been making a lot more tech reviews, so I wanted to create a desk setup that would make it easy for me to review laptops and phones. And lastly, I've been wanting to hire someone to help me with the channel, so I want this to be a functional setup that someone can use to work. Because of all of those factors, I really wanted to get a 30 by 60 inch tabletop, but after some quick measurements, it looked like it would protrude a little too much and ruin the circulation in the space, or so I thought. While playing around with the 3D model of my home office, I realized I could resolve the circulation issue by simply moving the neat filing cabinet to the opposite side of the desk. So I did that and said goodbye to this 24 by 48 shift desk and replaced it with the sway desk from Ergonoffice. If you've been following the channel for a while, then you should know how much I love this desk. It's easy to install. All the holes are pre-drilled for accessories, and it has a solid wood tabletop which looks absolutely beautiful. It's almost like having a cheat code. You can place this desk anywhere and it will instantly elevate that space. I chose to get the 30 by 60 inch tabletop to accommodate more peripherals and accessories, and for sure the extra surface area will come in handy when I'm reviewing other products. This standing desk uses a swipe gesture to switch between sitting and standing. You can simply swipe up when you want to stand and swipe down to go back to the sitting position. The motors are quiet, the desk is sturdy, and the best part is it has a stand reminder feature, which is crucial. I know I get too focused while working, and most of the time I forget to stand up. I chose to get white legs this time around because I wanted to create a light and dark setup in the same home office. Plus, it kind of creates this floating look that makes the walnut pop even more. The black legs blend in with the slats for my main setup, and the white legs blend in with my walls in this setup. And I'm not gonna lie, I was worried about this decision at first, but I think it worked out pretty well. I also added casters to this setup. It's basically a standard practice for me for years now. I love to update my setup and rearrange the layout of my space, and having these makes it so much easier to make any type of changes, especially when you combine that with the cable management solution. It has a perforated rack for you to mount excess cables, power adapters, and even accessories like my router and this KVM switch. Personally, I love using these Velcro ones from Amazon to mount things on the cable management solution. It's as secure as a zip tie, but a lot easier to take out. This cable management solution also has an included power strip. The idea is you plug all your accessories to it and you basically have a clean desk setup on wheels, and all you need to do is plug in a single cable. It's a really well thought out solution and I highly recommend it. Ergonoffice also makes other accessories like a desk shelf, desk drawer, this neat filing cabinet, this new wall shelf, and they also have new ceramic accessories like this laptop dock, pen holder, headphone stand, and a catch-all tray. They're having a big Black Friday sale right now where you can get up to 25% off their desk and accessories. So if you've been thinking about making upgrades to your setup, now is a really good time. But if you're seeing this outside of the sale period, don't worry. They also have bundles available which offers a really good discount, and if you're interested, I'll have all the links to the products I mentioned in the description below. For this setup, I knew I wanted to mount the monitor based on the use cases I had in mind. I'm using the trusty Ergotron LX monitor arm. It has this low profile clamp that works really well with the Ergonoffice cable management solution. It's really sturdy, so you can set the monitor however you want and it stays in place. For my monitor, I decided to get the LG 32GS95UE. I've been eyeing this monitor for a while now, and I actually watched a ton of YouTube videos on it. It's a 32-inch 4K OLED monitor with a 240Hz refresh rate. It has a minimalistic design, there's no branding in front, just a subtle Ultra Gear logo in the back, and it has a thin profile so it looks great on a desk setup. After turning this on for the first time, my actual reaction was an audible, "Wow, this looks beautiful." It was rich and vibrant, really pleasing to the eyes, and the blacks are truly inky, which makes sense because it has a True Black 400 certification and a 1.5 million to 1 contrast ratio. Typically, I prefer glossy OLED panels, but the anti-reflective coating of this monitor is actually pretty good. It doesn't ruin the image quality at all. It's still sharp and vibrant, it diffuses light well, and I think it might be the best matte monitor I've ever used. Because of these things, gaming on this monitor is such a great experience. Playing games like Red Dead Redemption 2 feels so immersive, and playing competitive games like League of Legends, Valorant, and Warzone is equally as enjoyable. There's little to no input lag, and it has a dual mode feature. With one press, you can choose to run your games at 240Hz in 4K or 480Hz in 1080p. You can even use a smaller screen size like 24 inches or 27 inches, and this is awesome because it's like having two monitors in one. So I can play Valorant and Warzone using my preferred 27-inch setting and use the 32-inch for sim racing and productivity. It's really cool. And when it comes to productivity, this monitor is great for researching, typing, and I would be very comfortable using this as my primary editing monitor. The PC I'm using is the one I built back in 2022, and in fact, it was the first PC I ever built. Despite not having any experience, I decided to build a small form factor PC, and I thought it was really fun. I have a full video about my experience, which I'll link up here, and I highly suggest that you watch it, especially if you're considering building one yourself. This build is water cooled. It has a Ryzen 5 5600X, a 3070 Ti, 32 gigs of RAM and 1TB SSD, and I have it in the Lian Li A4H2O case. I've thought about upgrading this build many times, but honestly, it's still going strong, so I think I'll hold off a little longer, maybe until the 50 series comes out. On top of my monitor, I mounted a light bar. This is one of those things that I will always have in my setup. It's a great task light, it reduces eye strain, and I think it's a must-have when working at night or in the dark. The one I'm using is the BenQ Screen Bar Pro. This has all the controls integrated within the light bar itself, so it's a really clean solution. It has brightness control, temperature control, auto dimming, and it even has ultrasonic sensors, so it turns on automatically when you get close, which comes in really handy when I'm just quickly grabbing something in the office at night. For my speakers, I'm using the Kanto Aura. This packs a punch despite its size. It has a detailed soundstage, deep bass, and I think it looks amazing. I have it set on SE2 stand, so when I'm watching YouTube videos or listening to music, it's at an ideal height. Every now and then, I would still use my SteelSeries Arctis 7P, but recently I started preferring the Sony InZone Buds. It's comfortable to wear for long gaming sessions, and it doesn't give me headset dent, which is a big plus for me. Most importantly, I think the sound quality is pretty good. It offers great battery life, decent noise cancellation, and virtually no latency. My friends say the audio quality is just as good, if not better than the Arctis 7P, so I'm really happy about that. One thing I wish was better though is the ambient mode. I can't really hear much of my surroundings, so I still find myself taking it off to properly hear what's going on outside of my office. I thought about using a desk shelf for this setup just so I have a dedicated space to store laptops, phones, and tablets. There's no denying that it's very convenient to have it in the setup, but I'm not fully convinced that I like how it looks, so maybe you guys can help me decide whether I should have the desk shelf or not. For my desk mat, I've been testing out this new product from Grovemade called the Studio Pad. It has this bent rail to hold phones, tablets, and notes. There's this tray to hold pens and accessories, and 2 slots to route any cables you need. I think it's a really cool solution, but we'll see how well it does in the long run. For my keyboard, I'm using the Keychron K2HE. It's a 75% keyboard, which I think is the sweet spot for productivity and gaming. It has a ton of features up its sleeve. You can adjust the actuation point to minimize errors. It has dynamic keystrokes, so you can do a light press to walk and deep press to run. Basically, you can have more precision like when using a controller. For my mouse, I'm using the Logitech Superlight 2.0. I just love how light and responsive this is, and I think it feels great in the hand. Now, I know I mentioned sim racing in the beginning of this video, and you're probably wondering where my setup is. Well, finding the right setup for this space was actually a little bit tricky. Since I don't have extra storage space for a sim racing rig, I needed it to look aesthetically pleasing because I'll be storing it here in the home office. So I searched online and found the Coffee Racer Play. And let me tell you, this thing is amazing. It's supposed to look like a coffee table when not in use. You can get ones with a wood top, but I chose to get this one instead so that when I store it under my desk, it just blends in. When it's time to play, I can simply roll it out, and in about a minute or two, it unfolds into a full-on sim racing rig. The wheelbase and pedals are mounted inside, and all I have to do is plug this into my computer and to the outlet. What I'm using is the Moza R5 bundle, which comes with the wheelbase, the ES wheel, and the pedals. It's a really good setup for beginners with some room that you can grow into. It has a good amount of force feedback. I feel immersed while racing without feeling like I'm doing an intense workout. I want to say I don't really need any more than this, but I made some upgrades already. I decided to get the formula mod for the ES wheel, and I also replaced the pedals with the SRP just because I didn't like how the light felt even with the brake mod. To complete the sim racing setup, I decided to get the Steelcase Karmann with high back. It was important for me to get a chair that's comfortable and has a lot of adjustments so I can use it for both work and play. And since I've been using the regular Karmann for a while now, I thought this was a no-brainer, especially since it has a headrest. It looks beautiful in this black and brass intermix. It has all the adjustments I'm looking for and more. It's weight activated, so it automatically adjusts to your body. It has a feature called Live Back, which supports your back and spine so you can move naturally. It's basically a chair that's designed to move with you. The problem is I needed to find a way to secure it while racing, otherwise I'll be sliding all over the place. Initially, I tried using locking casters, but they were too cumbersome in practice. Good thing I reached out to Ryan from Maximum Attack Simulation, which is the US supplier for Coffee Racer, and he shared with me a solution that one buyer had for a different chair, and I thought it would work well with the Karmann. Basically, I needed to get this knob grip screw and install it in the Coffee Racer. Then I installed lashing straps on both of the support members, and it worked perfectly. Here's how it works. Once the Coffee Racer is unfolded, I sit on the chair, slide over to the rig, hook both of the lashing straps on the knob. Then I tighten both of the straps, and this keeps the Karmann from sliding forward and backward, and also it prevents it from twisting. It works so well, it's like the Karmann was made for this. After that, I just pulled the monitor close to me, then I'm off to the races. My only gripe with this setup is with regards to the lid. It can be a little bit tricky to take off and put on, but other than that, I'm super happy with this solution. It's compact, it's modular, it's sleek, it's a rig that blends in the background when not in use, and it unfolds into a functional sim racing setup when I want to unwind. And I can even roll this setup in the living room if I want, which I haven't done, but I probably should. This desk setup might be my favorite one to date. It perfectly meets all my needs. It's a great desk setup that I can use to review phones, tablets, and laptops. It's a space someone can use for work, whether it's my wife or someone else. And it's an aesthetically pleasing gaming setup for when I need to unwind after a long day. Or when I get a text from the boys to hop on and get a few games in. I'm sure this desk setup will continue to evolve, but I think this is a solid starting place. If you guys made it all the way to this point of the video, type walnut in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.